everyone! I'm back with our second to last reading of The Trouble with Chickens. So this section's going to be a lot shorter. The chapters aren't as long and we're not going to read as many. So we're going to read about 3 today and we'll read 3 next week and we'll be all done with this book, and I hope you're really curious to see how it ends. I did read ahead a little bit, so I already know, but it's a good ending. So I apologize in advance for my dog. He's in the mix right now, so he might try to interrupt me, but I'm going to try my best. So we're just going to read chapters 18 through 20 today. So chapter 18 is called Encyclopedia Chickenia. You okay? Came a tiny voice. I saw a pretty pair of wings. Unless my fairy godmother was a chicken, it was nobody I wanted to talk to. You okay? She repeated. It was Sugar. I didn't answer her. I turned my back and closed my eyes. When I opened them, the sun was setting. Sugar was still there. Shouldn't you be long gone by now? I asked. Vince said it's safer if we wait until dark, she said. Safer for whom? I asked. She didn't answer. I had no idea why I was even talking to her. But when you're in a cage, you can't be picky about your company. How did I get in here? I asked. You jumped over the couch, landed against the wall, and knocked yourself out cold, she answered. But how did I get in the cage? I asked. Vince made us line up the recycle bottles, and we rolled you in, she said. Vince wasn't as dumb as he looked. Oh, there's poor JJ in the cage. We didn't speak for a minute. Then I continued my line of questioning. Who grabbed you off the bird bath? I asked. I got myself off the bird bath. How? I asked. Chickens can't fly. Sure we can. Not very well, but enough to get off a bird bath. I don't believe you. You should read more, she said. I turned my back on her again. Maybe if you read a book, you would know that we can actually fly short distances. Sometimes we fly to rendezvous with other chickens. Usually to flee danger. My ears perked up. You don't say. She came right up to the cage. Sometimes it behooves breeders to have our wings clipped. You don't say. For all I cared, she had just recited the same small print off the bottom of a mattress tag. All I had heard from her rant was blah blah blah, rendezvous, blah blah blah, behoove. So those words sound familiar, don't they? They were in the words in the note that started this whole mess. So how is Sugar talking and using those words? Let's find out. So chapter 19 is called Show and Tell. You wrote the notes, I said to Sugar. Sugar took another step towards the cage, careful not to get too close. Did not. Did. Did not. Did. Did not. It was like a game of ping pong. I hate ping pong. Spill it, Sugar, a voice piped up. Moosh stepped out of the kitchen shadows. All the color drained from Sugar's face. She instinctively took a step back from the trouble coming her way. I had 1 second to act. I sucked my breath in through my nose as hard as I could. Sugar was dragged right between the 2 bars and stuck to my nose like a stray sock on a freshly dried towel. I had no idea what I was going to do with her. It was Moosh's turn to come to the cage. I thought she'd come to rescue Sugar. I was wrong. JJ's right, she said. I knew it as soon as I saw the note. Aha. I knew she knew more than she said she knew when she knew it. Try saying that 5 times fast. It explained her bouncing left foot. It wasn't a tap or a tick. It was a tell. A tell is something people do when they're lying. In Moosh's case, it was something she did when she knew more than she said she knew when she knew it. Moosh stuck her beak through the bars. I'm waiting, she said. I wrote it, said Sugar confessed. I sent Poppy and Sweetie into the house, but I had to make it look like Vince took them. Why in the world would you do that? Moosh asked. For the books, Sugar answered. What books? Moosh said. We don't have any books. Look around, Moosh. This is a house filled with books, I said. Moosh's eyes got big and wide. Vince said I had to get him to help him get JJ into the house or he wouldn't let me back in to read the books, Sugar added. Finally, Moosh understood that Sugar had been coming and going to this house for a long time. You faked a kidnapping? With Vince the funnel? Moose raised her voice so high I thought she might cough up a vocal cord. Vince promised me he wouldn't hurt them. He let them watch TV. Moosh considered this for a second. Vince forced you to write these notes? She said. Actually, they were my idea, said Sugar. I had to make sure you went to JJ for help. That's enough, a voice interrupted. Vince had come into the kitchen with Poppy and Sweetie in tow. I should have known you'd sing like a bird, he growled at Sugar. I am a bird, she chirped. Vince bared his teeth. You're lucky you're in that cage. He turned to me. Congratulations, hero dog. You figured it all out. Vince snickered. But you're still in a cage, and you're still going to the vet to get ear tubes. You can thank your little chicken family for that. I charged to the front door of the cage as hard as I could. The door didn't budge. When I got back on my feet, the chickens were gone. Vince got as close to the cage as the funnel would let him. So who rescues the rescue dog? He asked. Don't you think your dog walker is going to notice I'm not you? Regular guy is gone for holiday. His cousin is filling in. Never seen me before, he answered. You've got a bigger problem, I added. What's that? When Barb gets back, she's going to know the wrong dog got the tubes, I said. Yeah, but she's not going to care, he said. Why is that? She's going to be too upset over the demise of her pet chickens, and she's going to blame you. Sugar made a very strange noise right before she fainted. I had forgotten she was still in the cage with me. So, apparently, had Vince. Don't even bother trying to warn them, he sneered. The doggy door is controlled by the black tag on my collar. They can't get out unless I let them out. He was still snickering when he left the room. So that's why that funny black tag on his collar was for. I thought it was the on and off switch for the lamp. I needed more information from Sugar. One good dose of dog breath was all it took to wake her up. All this for a book? I asked. It was a really good book, she whispered. Then she fainted again. Chapter 20. RHBWR. Tell me everything you know now, I said when Sugar came to. Sugar spilled her guts for real this time. There was still one step left in Vince's plan. As soon as it was dark, they had to help him get his funnel off. Vince says when we're done, everyone will know that you're a dupe and he's a dirty double-crosser, she ended. Do you have any idea what that means? I asked, exasperated. None whatsoever, she said. It means Vince is a liar and you are in serious trouble. It was Dirt. Where have you been? Under the couch, Dirt answered. Doing what? I asked her. RHBWRing, she said. Stop mumbling, I said. Dirt rolled her eyes. Oh, got it, I said. Moosh's voice arrived in the kitchen before she did. I'm not leaving here without Sugar, so let her go, JJ. She can't help you, she said. She stopped dead in her tracks. Dirt, where have you been? Under the couch, she said. Doing what? Demanded her mother. RHBWRing, she answered. Stop mumbling, said Moosh. Dirt let out a heavy sigh. Never mind, we're leaving, said Moosh. I'm sorry for all the trouble, JJ, but I'm getting my family out of here. Where are Poppy and Sweetie? Asked Sugar. She sounded worried. I sent them to wake Vince up so we can take off his funnel and get out of here, said Moosh. Dirt was through the door before Moosh could finish her sentence. Sugar made that funny sound again, like she was going to pass out. This time I called her before she fell over. Moosh, that funnel is the only thing between Vince and your chicks, I said. Once this thing is off, you're doomed. All of you. Moosh ignored me. I won't be tricked again, she said. We're leaving. Moosh, you're not listening. I was getting pretty agitated. Vince is not going to let you go. I shoved Sugar out through the bars to let Moosh know I was serious. Dirt was back in a flash with Poppy and Sweetie behind her. Mom, the doggy door's locked. We can't get out. Moosh looked scared. I can take 'em, she squawked. No, you can't, I said. Dirt took a good look around the kitchen. The note on the fridge, the lock on the cage, the recycle bin full of bottles. I have a plan, she said. Then she grabbed a pencil and paper and drew her own diagram. So that was it for our chapters in this section. So we found out a lot. So Vince is a really bad dude. All he wanted to do was avoid the vet, and now he's trying to go after Moose's chicks just to get what he wants and to make sure he doesn't take the blame. That's not cool, is it? All right. So here we go. Here's our next questions. So who came to the crate to check on JJ? You remember it was a little tiny bird. What was her name? Sugar. And she slid through the bars and she had to tell her whole plan, well, Vince's whole plan to JJ. How did JJ knock himself out? So what was JJ doing when he blacked out and then before he woke up in the cage? He jumped over the couch and landed against the wall and knocked himself out. How did JJ get in the cage? So Sugar told JJ how they did it, but how did Vince and Moosh and the chicks get JJ into the cage? Vince made the chicks line up the recycle bottles and they rolled them in. So they lined up all these plastic bottles in a line and they put JJ on top. And then they rolled the bottles so that JJ rolled into the cage smoothly. Oops. How did JJ figure out that Sugar wrote the notes? So what words was Sugar using that kind of clicked in JJ's head? And he was like, I've heard this before. Sugar used the words rendezvous and behoove. Remember she was talking about chickens and how they can fly even a little bit? And she said that they rendezvous. So what did JJ say was like a game of ping pong? He was talking to Sugar about who wrote the note. And Sugar was saying it wasn't me. And they were going back and forth as to whether or not Sugar had written the note, even though she did. She was just denying it. So what was Moosh's tell? Now, JJ said that every time someone's lying, they always have a tell. Whether they twitch, or they bite their nails, or they blink a lot, there's something that's telling you that they're not telling the truth. So what was Moosh's tell? What did she do every time she lied to JJ? Can you remember? She bounced her left foot when she knew more about the note than she told JJ. Remember that was that part in the story when it was like she knew more than I thought she knew when she knew it? That was her tell when she started bouncing her foot. Why did Sugar say she had sent Poppy and Sweetie into the house? So why did Sugar send Poppy and Sweetie into the house? Why did she start all of this mess? She wanted books. Vince had told her that he wouldn't let her back into the house to read the books if she didn't help him get JJ. So Vince set Sugar up and said, you can't have the books anymore unless you help me catch the dog so I can send the dog to the vet and not myself. Like, how mean is that? All she wanted to do was read the books. Why did Vince think he could fool the dog when he came to take him to the vet? So what was different about this week that made it so he could fool the dog walker? What was different about the dog walker this week? Put it that way. Vince knew that his regular dog walker was on holiday or a vacation, and his cousin would be coming to take him to the vet. And his cousin had never seen Vince before. So the dog walker's cousin wouldn't know whether it was Vince or it was JJ that he was taking to the vet. He just knew he was taking a dog to the vet. So what was the black tag on Vince's collar for? It was very essential for their plan. It controlled the doggy door. So unless Vince opened that door, pressed the button on his collar, no one was getting out of the house. Why did JJ try to warn Moosh about getting the funnel off Vince's head? What do you think? He knew the funnel was the only thing saving her and her chicks. Without the funnel, Vince would likely attack them. Aww. Alright, so that's the end of our section, the end of our questions. We just have one more left. So I'll see you all next week and we'll read the last section and that'll be it. Thanks for listening. Bye.